This is the Algo Futures Trader Weekly Market Roundup. And this is the Algo Futures Trader for NinjaTrader 7. And this blue shaded area is what we call the no trade zone. So AFT 7 is a opening morning New York Stock Exchange breakout strategy. All right, so it looks for the market to break outside of this no trade zone, either to the upside or to the downside. Right, but the way we use it is not to just completely automate everything. It is a what we would call hybrid automated trading approach. It's man with machine. So we take a bias based on our market filters, and I'll show you one of those filters in just a moment. And then we let the automated system take the trade and manage the trade from there. So to give you an example, here was Friday's trading action in the MES, the S&P micro contract. And you can see we had several trade signals go off here to the long side. But why were we comfortable taking the trade to the long side? Why did we believe this had a good probability of following through? Well, for a couple of reasons. The first, we have at Alpha Web Trader, we house some of the filters that we like to use. One is a gap filter. Right, so if we look at MES on Friday, so here's the MES contract. It said IGD. Right, at the time, that IGD, which means inside gap down, would have been green. Right, it turned black because the gap did fill. But that's the premise. An inside gap, like we had on Friday in the MES, where the market basically opened down, but inside the prior day's low. And the tendency is about 70% of the time that gap is going to fill. In other words, the market's going to rise back to the prior day's close. So that's one of the filters that we were looking at to say, you know, we've got a 70% bias in our favor here at the open that the market, or in this case the MES, will move higher. We also can take a look at our trendometer here. So this is basically a trend indicator, but also gives us the strength of each market. So you see here, the NASDAQ was listed first, then your S&P, the Dow, mid cap, and small cap. What this means is the NQ here is the strongest market, while the small caps were the weakest market, or this would be your M2K or your Russell. All right, and you see everything was green here. Now this was heading into the close, but that just gives you the bias to the upside as well. Right, so the trend is up and the strength. All right, so when these trades popped up Friday morning, basically right off the open, we had confidence that this was the right direction to be in, and we would avoid any short trades that potentially would set up in favor of these long trades. So obviously these long trades triggered to the long side. The gap fill here was at this fib grid line, this little blue fib grid line here. And price not only hit that, filled the gap, but went beyond. So you were able to get, you know, a nice easy trade on a Friday and get green and be done with your day. Also, once we determine what the bias is, then we come over and we can turn our automatic trading to the on side. And what we're going to do, you see where it says long and short here, we're going to uncheck the short and we're going to check the long. What that means, it tells the software, hey, only take the long trade setups and avoid any short trade setups. Once that's done, the software is going to execute any long trades, and then it's going to manage the trade from there. So the targets come out automatically, the trailing stop, all that is done automatically. So it's man with machine, right? So we're using the automation as much as possible, but also using our own, our own filters in conjunction with the automation to determine, which way should we be trading? Which direction should we be trading or favoring? All right, hope that's helpful. You guys have a good Halloween here in the US, and we'll see you next week.